My name is Cherry, and I was born into a very poor family. Even in my first memories, life was hard. As the youngest of 7, I learned early that survival was never guaranteed. 2 of my brothers were soldiers, but they died in the war. My father was a soldier too. He died when I was still very young, too young to understand what it meant to lose someone forever. Later, my older sister died from alcohol abuse. I was still a child. I didn't really understand what was happening. I just remember the sadness in the house and the emptiness that followed each loss. I made it to grade 4 in school, but then we couldn't afford to continue. There was just no money for uniforms or books. I felt so ashamed. Other children wore their uniforms proudly, while I stayed behind, invisible. I started working. I would wake up at 3 a.m. while my friends still slept, just to keep our family going. My first job was catching fish at the lake. It was cold, tiring work, and I lasted 3 months. Then I moved to a snack factory, earning about 1 lakh a month, but the owner and his daughter were cruel to me. I often saw the owner watching porn on his phone in front of us. I felt so uncomfortable, so after a month and a half, I left. That's when things took a darker turn. A woman who was staying at our home told me I could work as a waitress in Lao Kaing. It sounded like a way out, like hope. But when we got there, it wasn't a bar, it was a brothel. They told me I had to give up my virginity. The woman had already paid my mother 100,000 jats before we left, and then sent another 300,000 after we arrived. I said no. I cried, I begged. But they threatened me, and in the end, I had no choice. My first customer was a Chinese man around 50 years old. He took me to a hotel. I felt so afraid, so ashamed. I tried to take my own life 5 times. I even thought about jumping off a cliff just to end the pain. But even that kind of escape was denied me. When I asked to leave, the manager threatened to have me killed by the local armed groups. I was completely trapped. I spent 7 painfully long months in Lao Kaing. Eventually, when war broke out, the brothel closed down and I was sent to Yangon. I worked in a fish factory again, earning just 9,000 jats a day. But the exhaustion was just too much. I couldn't keep going. Then a friend told me about a job at a big KTV. This time I knew what it was. I knew what they expected. But I didn't have a choice. This was the only way I could keep supporting my family. Some of the men there were drug users. Some of them hurt me so badly, but I kept working. But then everything changed. A friend who was working with me told me about the local Eden drop-in center. I didn't know what to expect. But the moment I walked in, something shifted. It felt like home. Not the one I came from, but the one I had always longed for. A place where people saw me. Not as a body, not as a burden, but as a human being. I felt safe. I felt accepted. There was love, and no one asked me to prove I was worthy of it. I started joining the training sessions. I especially loved sewing. I had never learned anything like that before. It felt good to use my hands for something creative, for something beautiful. For the first time in years, I started to believe I could build a different future. Then one day, they asked if I wanted to join the microgreens team. I couldn't believe it. It was a real job. They saw something in me. Maturity, skill, a quiet strength I didn't even know I had. The day I put on the microgreens uniform, I almost cried. It felt like a dream. Wearing the ID badge around my neck made me feel like I belonged, like I had value. Now I've been working at the microgreens project for 4 months. I love coming to work. I love watching the tiny plants grow, how they start as seeds and become something full of life and purpose, just like me. Every time I package the microgreen powder, I think about where it's going. To a child who needs nutrition. To a mother who's trying to feed her family. To someone who is weak and needs strength. This job is teaching me more than just how to grow microgreens. I'm learning how to speak up, how to believe in myself, how to hold my head high without shame. My story has many dark chapters, but this one, this new chapter is full of light. And for the first time, I'm excited to see what comes next.